about it. They made the damn movie, and that's all we got.
Yes,
They gave
yes.
it to us, and we
But
gotta just accept it.
I am dressed in honor of OG Danielle Harris for her little role in Urban Legend.
Oh yeah,
Her little goth queen look, because I was so
yeah.
into it last night. So I watched Urban Legend last night. I was trying to watch Final Cut, didn't get to it, and then my dryer broke, so I had to deal with that today.
Okay.
So I didn't get to a Final Cut, but I do remember enough about it that I did not like it. So
Yeah. And I mean, I had to do 2 watches just to make sure I really didn't like it. And I was like, yeah, this is not it's not good. It's
like, let
just
me
not
watch this
good.
again to make sure it's shit.
Like I had to make sure. Like I like to before I really, really, truly shit on a movie, I gotta make sure that I know what I'm talking about and my distaste for it. And I was right. I was right. It ain't good. It just wasn't good. So
And you know what the funny thing was? That's how I felt about watching Urban
yeah.
Legend. I was like, why did I like this movie? And then I got to like the last 20 minutes and I was like, oh, that's why I like this movie.
Yep. Yep. Urban Legend, first one, Chef's Kiss.
It's not though. It's not. It's literally not good till the killer reveal. That's when the movie
Basically.
gets good.
Well, you know what? I liked the aspect of them each killing was based on like an urban legend. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that part. And when they discovered, we found out who the killer was, it's like I'm glad I sat through this.
Yeah, like I hated our final girl, and I feel like that's why I didn't like it, because she was just so annoying to me. But it had so many good like horror movie actors in it, and I will watch anything with Loretta Devine.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's a stage play, a church play.
She did her thing. She did her thing in the movie.
Watching it.
For sure. She saved the day. Okay.
All right. Well, Urban Legend was in this the Scream mishmash craze when everybody was trying to like capitalize off the teen slasher. But Absolutely. It did bring like an interesting plot of, because everybody knows Urban Legends.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we start out with this girl driving in her Jeep. And I cannot watch this scene without thinking about Scary Movie. Like I was literally sitting there waiting for the person to get on the radio and be like, bitch, let me sing the song just because it's Scary Movie.
Of course.
But we get to like she's driving and she's singing along terribly with the radio, like so terribly. And she passes the gas station, and then you realize that she's almost out of gas, so she stops at this little like creepy, just out of this in like somewhere you shouldn't stop if you travel alone or black. By the way. You shouldn't be stopping here.
Oh yeah.
And the gas attendant comes to the truck, and it is Brad Dourif, Chucky himself, playing the creepy gas attendant. So it's like, you already know. I'm like, okay, cool. We're
perfect.
Here.
Perfect role for him.
No one can play weird like he plays weird. Even down to like him having like the forced stutter. So he's like stuttering and she's like creeped out. She's like, can you just fill it up? And she gives him the credit card. It's raining. He looks at her, he looks at the card, and then he looks at the car and he goes inside. So then he comes back and he's like, the credit card company wants to talk to you.
Yep.
So you already think like, oh, he up to no good because he's creepy looking. I mean, this is totally a whole like you're judging the book by its cover moment.
Absolutely.
So he gets her in there, he locks the door. She picks up the phone and it's just the dial tone, and he's trying to tell her something, but she like hits him.
Yep.
And then she like, he's still trying to tell her something important, and then she like pepper sprays his ass, and then she beats him with the phone. She pulls the phone out the wall, winds it up, beats him with the phone, throws a chair through the glass, climbs out. She gets in her car and you're like, whoo, she's safe.
Yep.
And then she drives off and he's running out and he's like, there's somebody in the back seat.
And that's where, as a viewer, I was like,
right. And you see like the axe come up like through the back of the window in the hood, and they just like cut her head off. You don't see the decapitation, but you see the blood and the axe go through the window.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best horror openings of the 90s. I'm sorry. It really was. Like, that was a nail biter, which is why I was like so disappointed from this to the end, because the rest of the movie is just so like wah wah to me.
Yeah.
Right. So then we get to the college, and it is, I keep wanting to, Natalie and her friend, I keep wanting to call them by their real names. Brenda. Natalie and Brenda are sitting in the coffee shop, and this guy is sitting there who plays Lex Luthor in Smallville. Like,
Right.
they have like everybody in here, right? So
Yeah.
like you got Natalie, Alicia Witt, which I wasn't familiar with until Urban Legend, but then you have Brenda, who is Rebecca Gayheart, who
Yeah.
was the original Noxzema girl in the 90s,
Oh yeah.
which is hilarious. But she also was one of the sorority sisters in Scream too.
Yep.
See what we did there?
Yep.
So they're sitting there talking, and he's talking about the Stanley Hall massacre that took place apparently at this college, and there's a big cover up, and this guy went on the floor of his dorm and knocked on every room, stabbed everybody, and killed everybody, and then killed himself. And they're like, we don't believe you. That's just some urban legend people tell at every college to scare people.
Of course, right? Nobody wants to believe it.
and Jared Leto comes out of nowhere. I forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah.
Because like he never talks about it, and he even acts like he doesn't know that he was in this movie. Apparently, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, young Jared Leto, who is like really good in this movie. Like you can tell that he was gonna be pretty major because he did a lot with such bad material. Like the dialogue was not good, but he can act.
Yeah.
So he comes in and talks to like is making fun of the guy for buying into this shit that apparently didn't happen. He walks off, and Brenda's like, "Oh, he's so cute. Like we'd be so good together." After that, Natalie goes to her dorm room. She opens the door, she flicks on the light, and there is Danielle Harris, little Danielle Harris from Halloween, all grown up.
Yeah. Ugh.
Getting her cheeks clapped. So I had to do it for her because she was just looking so superior.
Right.
Okay. And she was getting her cheeks clapped bent over, talking about some turn off the fucking light.
Right. That was so cringy.
No, it was the shot of like her riding him in the background, and I was like,
yeah,
I remember that. And she was getting it in. And her roommate is like got headphones on, just wishing she was like anywhere else
in
the world. They wake up the next day, they go to class. The class is about urban legends and mythologies, and it's being taught by none other than Robert Englund, aka Freddy Krueger, Professor Wexler. And they are talking about just your comment earlier, they talk about the babysitter.
Yes.
The caller upstairs.
Yep.
And then they talk about Mikey, which if you are not of the millennial age, there is a myth out there. There was a kid that used to eat Life cereal in this commercial, and the thing was Mikey likes it. He'll eat anything.
Yep. Ugh.
And the urban legend was that Mikey died because he ate Pop Rocks and Pepsi. And apparently, if you mix the two in your stomach, that was a big thing for us growing up. You mix the two, your stomach's going to explode.
Right?
It's going to explode. Okay, well, apparently that's not true. It's not. And he shows a picture of Mikey as like a 40-year-old man outside of his house. And he dares one of them to come up and participate. So Brenda goes up and he gives her the Pop Rocks. And she's like, oh, they're delicious. And he's like, here, have some soda. And she's like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
And he's like, why? And she's like, Mikey likes it. That kid will eat anything. It killed him. So then he shows him that it didn't happen. And then another one of their friends, who is Joshua Jackson from Dawson's Creek and Mighty Ducks. Start your own podcast, okay? Thank you, Courtney. So from Mighty Ducks, he's a frat boy. He comes to the stage. He takes a sip of the Pepsi and he eats the Pop Rocks and he starts convulsing, acting like he's dying. Everybody's like freaked out and he's just like joking.
It's always that one guy in
always
like the take it that just joke too much. Like you.
I love when they go to like the old dormitory and they start doing Bloody Mary, and he like fucks with them and pops up behind them. Yeah. And she was like, we were trying to summon the dead, not frat boys with badly grown facial hair. That shit was funny. That shit was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
So they get done with class and they get the school paper and they realize that the girl that got killed in the beginning is a student at this college.
Right.
Okay. And Jared Leto is the reporter on the case. He's your Gale Weathers. He will do anything for a story.
Yep.
So he's digging around trying to figure everything out. And he's saying there's a killer on campus, and Loretta Devine enters as a security guard, and she's confiscating all the newspapers saying you guys can't read these.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And after that, I want to say this is when we get to Joshua Jackson's Damon Brooks. Damon asking out Natalie.
Yeah.
Right. And they go out, they have a good time. He drives her to, the makeout point in the woods.
Of course.
90s. And apparently everybody was going to secluded areas to make out. I don't know about this. I was in the 2000s. We just made out in the basement. So I don't know about
Right.
I don't know about these secluded areas. I think when they got to our timeline, we were like, no, we don't go into the woods with people.
Yeah, that's not a good. This is why we don't go.
Yeah, what they say on Kendra's album, where you stay, where your grandmama stay, where
right?
your stay.
Everything.
Somebody gonna know where I'm at with you.
Exactly.
Because we were the generation that was taking pictures of people's license plates.
Yeah.
Or my favorite. Okay, call me, and if I say this,
yep. That means this.
That means this. Tell me there's an emergency.
Right.
So I can leave. But no, they're vibing in the car. He's trying to make a move on her. She's like, yeah, you're cool. We're friends. I'm not feeling it. He decides to go to the bathroom because all guys who take you to make out have to take a piss.
For some reason, one way or another.
In every urban legend, the man always has to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking a leak, but he gets attacked from behind with a rope. Right? He gets tied up around his neck, and she's sitting in the car. She sees a hooded figure walking around the car trying to get in. She locks the doors. She's trying to start the car, but you saw from her, when they first got there, the car's a piece of shit. So you have to hit it a bunch of times and talk to it to get it to start. It's the old school. But while she's doing that, you see this person isn't really trying to attack her. They start wrapping the rope around the back of the car.
Yeah.
She finally gets it to start, and she drives off, and you see she heard these noises, these squeaky noises.
Right.
And it's Damon on top of the car. His tippy toes are screeching on the roof. Damn. And this is the urban legend of the guy that got hung with his own car at Makeout Point. So she drives off. The rope that's tied to her car is tied to him above a tree. She drives off, and it hangs him.
Yep. Boom.
Right. And she finally realizes it. And then when she backs up, he just slams down.
Yep. Ooh.
So she leaves, and she goes and finds Reese, and she's like, there's a body out there. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah.
They go back out there. There's no body. And Reese was like, girl, what are you on?
Yep.
Ain't nobody out here. You done made me leave Foxy, because Reese is obsessed with Pam Grier. You got me leaving Foxy Brown to come up here and play these games with you, white girl. I don't have time.
Right.
I don't have the time. So she's just freaked out, and she's telling everybody, okay, I saw what I saw. He's dead.
Yeah.
And they're like, Damon, he's just probably playing a prank, because that's what he does.
Yep.
He's always fucking with somebody. He's on the ski trip with the frat brothers. He's just fucking with you.
Right.
She finally calms down, and she ends up going to the library, and she runs to her friend Sasha, played by Tara Reid from American Pie and Sharknado. And Sasha's getting the Kama Sutra. That's her homework.
Right.
And Natalie gets the book of urban legends, and they're talking about the gang initiation. So for those who don't know, the gang initiation is when you drive down a dark street or highway with your lights off, and as soon as someone flashes you, you turn your high beams on and you follow them.
Yeah.
They call it a gang initiation because a lot of times people get run off the road and they die tragically. And it's a fucked up game.
Yeah.
So they talk about that, and Natalie gets really uncomfortable, but Sasha's like, I gotta go. I got some homework. And she's looking through the urban legends, and she sees that Damon was the last person to check the book out. So she's like, okay, he's obviously fucking with me. Right. She calms down. Meanwhile, her roommate that was getting her cheeks clapped is on the Goth for Goth chat line looking for guys to hook up with in the dorm.
Yeah.
She gets a hit, her sneaky link for the light. She's like, okay, I'm going to get ready. Tell me what room you're in. She leaves. She closes her door. She goes, puts her lipstick on. Natalie's on her way back at the same time. When her roommate gets back into the bedroom, it says, "I'm in your room."
Yep.
And she gets
Ooh,
attacked from behind.
yep. Oh man.
The lights, she unplugs, everything is unplugged, the lights go out, she gets attacked, and Natalie walks in. Now she's hearing her moan, but
Yeah.
remember, she told her, "Don't turn the light on, because
Yep.
I'm probably in here doing my thing." She told her, "Don't fucking let it happen again."
Yep.
Right. And I hate, the one thing I hate about this is like, because she's like goth
Yeah.
and she's on lithium. Okay.
Mhm.
Lithium is a medication that people use for bipolar manic disorder, or manic depressive disorders.
Right.
Very common, very standard. But back then, they made it seem like she was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Right.
Right. She had a tick and shit. Like, it was just so overdone. But it's the 90s. But she's literally getting like choked, like smothered, choked.
Yeah.
Natalie slings her ass in the bed. She's like, "Oops, my bad." Puts her
Yep.
headphones on.
Put her headphones on and go.
She's back there getting stabbed and choked.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. She dies. So Natalie wakes up and she sees all the blood next to her bed. And then over Natalie's bed, it says, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" This is also an urban legend.
Yep.
About someone being in the same room with you getting murdered and you didn't turn on the light to know what was going on.
Yeah. Wasn't that the one where it was like somebody was under the bed or something? And
No.
they said, or is it I'm thinking of the one that's like, you should have looked under the bed or something. I can't remember.
That one, and that they actually show that one in a movie called Campfire Tales. It has Denise Richards in it. It's so hard to find, but it's so good.
It is.
That one did Urban Legends too, right after this one, and it was so underrated.
It was so yeah, it was good. I like that one. I liked it.
Like the not looking. I think that is part of "Aren't You Glad You Didn't Turn on the Light?" But it's got a twist to it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's something to that effect, because that one scares me, and that was probably one of the scariest shit I ever seen as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Was so quick backstory. There's an urban legend, and this girl has a dog that's her companion. The dog is always at the bottom of her bed,
licking her hand, right?
Every night she falls asleep to it. That's her comfort. So one night there is an escaped criminal on the loose. Everybody's in the house, they're locking it down, and she goes to bed. She's nervous, but she puts her hand down there and her dog starts licking her hand and she falls asleep. She wakes up for some reason to go to the bathroom or something, and she looks in the mirror across from her bed, and the convict is under her bed licking her hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's the "Aren't You Glad You Didn't Turn on the Light?"
No, it was like Humans Can Lick Too.
Yes,
that's what
Humans
it was.
Can Lick Too. That's what it is. But it has that same feeling.
And he killed the dog in that one, didn't he?
Yes,
he killed the dog.
Yep. It has that same feeling. "Aren't You Glad You Don't Turn on?" But yeah, Humans Can Lick Too. So like urban legends, like if you really want to like do a creepy, like I know now creepypasta is the thing, but for us it was called urban legends.
Right.
That had nothing to do with the internet. So because everybody's sister, cousin, friend was the person that was involved in the story.
Every time.
One of my other favorite urban legends is this is the one right here. The one where the girl dates the guy for like years and he's a commitment phobe, and she finally breaks up with him, and then he shows up in the rain on her doorstep and he proposes and they live happily ever after. That's my favorite urban legend of shit that has never happened in the history of forever.
Ever. Oh my God.
Of the commitment phobe that became a great husband and father.
Yep. Overnight, or seemingly overnight.
Also to tack on to that is the guy that married his side chick and never cheated. I love that urban legend too. But I digress. So she is literally telling, like, now everybody's seeing that this is serious, right? Like, this girl is dead in this dorm room. People are crowding. Brenda's trying to check on Natalie, and Jared Leto is there. Paul is there trying to get the story. Natalie's talking to the dean, and she's talking to Reese, the security guard, and she's like, someone was in there with her.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why didn't you turn on the light? And she's like, well, I caught her having sex a few days ago, and that was something I just rather not see.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, but did you see anybody? And she's like, no, but I sensed and I felt like, and they're like, no, if you didn't see anybody, this was obviously a suicide. Did you know she was on lithium?
Yeah. They was dragging that. They was dragging that.
He did not kill herself. And he's like, well, people on these type of medications do all types of things, and just wrote her off. So she's like doubting herself, but she knows. She's like, why would they leave that message? And he's like, well, people who write suicide note leave all types of cryptic messages. So they just leave. They're like, case closed. She killed herself. It's whatever. And Brenda's like, are you okay? You know, you want to get some coffee and talk about it? And she's like, I'd rather be by myself.
Yep.
Right. And she is walking. Paul walks up and he's like, you know, it's very interesting. Some information I found. And then he pulls on all the handy dandy paper and he opens it. And it's a yearbook photo of Natalie and the girl from the opening kill.
Yeah.
And you realize that they were friends and they knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And she's like, how did you get that? And he's like, well, I called her high school, your high school, and found this. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they decide to go, they run into the janitor, the creepy janitor, and they're like, how long have you been here? Because, you know, they're talking about Stanley Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think this is connected somehow. Don't know how, but he thinks it's connected.
Right.
They go to look at the records. 1973 is missing, or 63 is missing. So they asked the janitor, like, hey, were you around? How long you been here? And he said, too damn long.
Mm-hmm.
He was done. He said too damn long. So they're asking him, like, well, what do you know about the Stanley Hall massacre? And he's like, you need to talk to Wexler.
Yeah.
They go to his office. He's not there, but of course they're snooping around.
Of course.
Because there's no way they're going to get caught.
Sleuthing. This is the 90s sleuth.
Right. And she finds like his secret room, and it had the same hooded jacket on. Now, please tell me, riddle me this. Why does everybody have the same parka? There's like 5 people in this movie with the same coat, y'all.
Yeah, like it was creepy.
Like, I understand, like, I mean, it wasn't like it was no Eddie Bauer or nothing like that. Like, it wasn't like the hottest shit on the runway. It was just a plain ass black parka with a fur hood, and everybody had this exact identical coat.
And they wore it at the same time,
at
too.
the same time. Wore during a fucking massacre.
Yeah.
Where there's somebody walking around with a hooded coat.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, she opens it. The coat is in there. She hears a jump scare. They walk back there. They see an axe. Right? And then they hear that Wexler's in the office. So they're trying to hide. They think they heard him leave, and they're like, ooh, good, we didn't get caught. They closed the little bookshelf, and he's standing right there. Now they in the dean's office on academic probation because they couldn't keep their nosy asses out the way. Now, here's the crazy part. The dean was like, and I'm sorry, he was real player about it, but he was like, you know, given your criminal history, Natalie, I would think you wouldn't be doing things like this, seeing how our university doesn't even accept people that have criminal histories.
Yeah.
And then he looked at Paul and he was like, well, you are hereby on academic probation for this moment on. And he's like, no, you can't do that. The dean can't do that. Only the person in charge of my department can. And he said, well, your editor put in the call.
Ooh.
Please and thank you. Y'all can get the fuck out. Okay. He was so play about it. Like there was nothing they could do.
Right.
Right. And Paul's like, walks out and he's like, okay, so we just jeopardized my career and you got a record and you ain't even gonna tell me what's happening.
Right.
So she storms off. She's like, I can't. The whole movie, she is like,
she's the worst. She was the worst.
The whole movie.
Movie.
How are you gonna find a girl? She cried every time somebody asked her what time it was.
Right. They would just wanted to know what was going on. Oh my gosh, I can't. Like, what? Girl, grow up. You in college.
So she goes and finds Brenda. Brenda is on the swim team. Brenda's training. She's swimming. And here we go again. Like she's above the pool area in like a glass like box. And here comes somebody walking in with the same fucking coat.
Yep.
But with their hood up. Now mind you, there's no snow on the ground. It's sunny as fuck. But we all got on hot ass fucking parkas with hoods up. And you can't see the face at all.
Why was it black? Like, why was it just so blacked out?
It was that big that it was like this far in front that you couldn't see anything. Okay, whatever. So she's screaming at Brenda. Brenda can't hear her. And the person is walking over to the pool and unzips their coat and reaches in the coat. And she breaks the glass with a chair. And you see it's just some random white chick. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, that was a lot. That was overkill, girl.
Her and Brenda just stand there like,
like, what is wrong with you?
So Brenda goes and checks on her. And this is where we get our whole exposition dump of what's wrong with Natalie. So,
Finally.
Natalie and this girl were friends in high school. They were best friends. It was their senior year, and they decided to have some fun. And they do the gang initiation, urban legend. So they have their lights off. Someone flashes their high beams, and they start chasing them. Now, Natalie's in the passenger seat. The other girl is driving. Okay, the girl is speeding, and Natalie the whole time is sobbing. This told it like a flashback, like veil.
Yeah.
So you see it as you're looking at Natalie crying. And Natalie's just like, I just didn't know what to do. And I wanted to tell her to stop, but I didn't tell her to stop.
Right.
Right. Brenda's just listening, being comforting. And it's a guy. And he crashes his car and he dies instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Natalie and her friend just get probation. They get a slap on the wrist.
Yep.
It's on their record, but they get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And she's like, and we found out that he was our age. So he's also a senior in high school. So lost his life before it even started.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, I just don't know how I live with myself. She
Like,
killed somebody.
right, because you obviously living, girl. Like, what are you crying for? You
must not have felt that bad because you act like you ain't know this chick.
At all.
Right? So Brenda's like, all right, cool, bust it. You need to feel better. Frat's throwing this party tonight for a Stanley Hall anniversary. You need to come, blow off some steam, get your mind right, to have a good time. So she's like, okay, I'll think about it.
Yep.
Right. So Sasha is getting ready because Sasha runs the student radio station. She's getting ready for her show. And I love this part because it's like the nerdy horror geek at the party that nobody wants to listen to all up in her ear.
Yep.
Which is like me. This is like, I'm not that aggressive about it. Like he was like coming on so strong.
Yeah.
But I am that party. Like if you give me the opening to talk about horror movies, I don't care where we are. I have literally been at the club. Like I'll never forget. I had this friend and she had a boyfriend and he was trying to hook me up with his friend. And I was at the bar talking about horror movies and anime and like he never called me. And that's cool. Like wherever you are, like I'm that's fine.
That's fine.
But I was being myself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, yeah, because they're playing Ohio Players Roller Coaster Love, which is another urban legend within an urban legend, which I love. Yep. They put this particular urban legend in here. So there's a myth that if you listen to Ohio Players Roller Coaster Love, that the scream in the beginning is like a sample from a 911 tape of someone being murdered.
Yeah.
So I like that they actually put that urban legend in there.
Right.
He's like too geek to like share this with her. And she's like, yeah, okay, cool. And like walks away. And you find out that her boyfriend is the guy in the beginning telling the story about the massacre.
Right.
Who's like been there like way too long. Like he's way too old to be there.
Yeah.
Like, okay. He's like a 7th year senior. Like,
yeah, gotta be.
And he has a dog named Chewy. And Chewy is doing bong rips. Like he is literally drinking beer out of the little tube. But they're getting Chewy fucked up. This poor little Shih Tzu is getting like fucked up. They're having a good time. Brenda's already there getting her swerve on. She's like, I'm looking for Paul. Natalie shows up. She's like, oh, what do you want to drink? And I was like, give me a Bud Light, whatever. Paul shows up. And in the midst of her getting to the party, Paul is at his desk and he finds a newspaper clipping of what happened at Stanley Massacre and the sole survivor, which is Professor Wexler.
Yep.
Right. And the janitor left it for him because he gave him the little look before he scooted off.
Right.
I ain't no snitch, nigga, but
here you go. Don't tell nobody else.
Shh. Right. Don't tell nobody. So he's telling her, like, well, yeah, it makes total sense. Like, he keeps quiet about what happened, and he has a job as a professor for life. So she's doing her her on the verge of crying shit again. Mm-hmm. And this one I was like, I hope you die. This bitch starts making out with Paul, knowing that her friend like him.
Yep. I said, see, you ain't learned nothing.
You learned nothing.
You ain't learned nothing.
Nothing. This why you got
crying is a facade.
This why you got these problems now, because you only think about yourself.
Yep.
And having a good time. Bitch, you still haven't learned how to have a good time yet.
Yep.
So Brenda walks up to him and was like, well, here's your beer. She's like, you waste no time, did you, Natalie? and gives her beer and walks off. And he's like, what happened? And she's like, I fucked up. Because Paul did not know Brenda liked him.
Right.
Like, I feel like Brenda was waiting for her moment to shoot her shot. It takes some time, people.
It does,
Some
right?
of us
Right.
have to work up to shooting the shot. We can't just come flat out about it.
Right.
Get a girl a mo. Like, she only know you for a couple months. Give her a minute. So she's trying to find Brenda. Brenda gone. Brenda crying.
Yep.
She mad. She crying. It's starting to rain. Paul's like, look, well, I'm about to go see what I can find out from Wexler. I'll get back to you. You stay here. Don't move.
Yeah. Right.
But she's sitting there. Brenda, she didn't even go get Brenda. She was like, I'm just gonna stay where Paul told me to.
Right. I hated that.
This loyal ass bitch. So Sasha's on the radio doing her radio show. Her producer is behind her in the other room, and you see the hooded figure come in and kill the producer and cut all the power.
Yep.
That is a good shot. It's a really good shot.
It was. It really was.
And she starts running for her fucking life.
Yep.
Half crying, but she's still connected to like her earpiece.
Yes.
So everyone on campus can hear her, and they think that she's doing like a performance art piece.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
They don't think that it's real, except for Natalie. Natalie's like, okay, I have to get to her.
Right. So
she's trying to help, but Sasha's got on these big ass boots, and she cannot run for shit for some reason. And I've never known anybody in any capacity that's wearing high heels that can't run in them.
Right.
It's kind of like a standard.
Or at least had a common sense to kick them off and go. Like that's always an option. Kick them off and go.
So she's running. She keeps getting caught at every turn by this person. So, no, back up a minute. I missed a kill. So before we even get to that part, the guy that's throwing the party, Sasha's boyfriend, Sasha says bye. He says, I love you. He's having a good time because he just cussed out Paul for trying to like stop the party to make everybody safe. So he gets a phone call in the house, and they're telling him about, he's about to be an urban legend too. And he's like, well, which one is that? And he's like, the one about the lady who dries her dog in the microwave.
Yes, I forgot about that one. I forgot about that one too.
Like I said, we skipped one because I was about to say something until I backed up. So he runs to the microwave, and the dog is in the microwave, blown up to bits, y'all. I'm sorry. Like, the 90s didn't give a shit about showing you animals getting fucked up
at all. Oh my gosh.
His guts are everywhere, and he spazzes out. He is yelling. He about to punch the air like Trey. He is losing it, and he runs to the bathroom to throw up, and the hooded figure comes in. Yep. They knock him out. They tie him up to the toilet. They put the same tube they was giving beer shots to Chewy with. They put Pop Rocks in it and Drano.
Oh, yes. Oh, that was so.
And that makes that nigga choke and explode. Now, that was a very interesting kill.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
So you realize that whoever is the hooded figure is at this party. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Whoever it is someone there because they got to him way too quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then we get to Sasha running around sobbing. Then she gets her moment. They keep catching her. This dumb bitch gets on the elevator.
Why? I was just like, you're not smart.
Even if I'm getting on the elevator, I'm not going up. I'm going down. She went to the 3rd floor.
Yeah, like that made no sense.
You're not trying to go to the exit.
Nope. Get out the building. You're going deeper into the building. Why?
And you just see the person just like turn around, just walk upstairs.
Yep.
Like they're gonna get there faster than you.
Yep.
You're in an elevator. Right. And she gets cornered as she gets off the elevator, and they throw her over to this balcony or this staircase, and she's hanging on for dear life. They grab the axe. They start swinging the axe. We got a rogue baby in there. They're swinging the axe. She drops, hurts her leg. She hits the ground, and then she starts limping, and she gets axed in the corner. And right when she gets axed in the corner is when Natalie shows up, and the person like waves to her.
Yeah.
And Natalie's freaked out, so she runs outside, and then she runs into Paul, and Paul is like, everybody's gone. I've tried to get help, everybody's gone. And she's like, where did you say you were coming from? What was you doing? Like, she hit him with the whole, like, you been where?
Yeah.
With who?
Right.
For real. Like, she really did, like, the whole.
She did. She really did.
She was asking all them questions.
Yes.
And he's like, look, I told you to stay at the party. So what are you worried about me for?
Right.
Right. They run into Brenda. They all get in Paul's car. Right. They're driving.
Mm-hmm.
They stop at a gas station. Paul's like, okay, I got to make a phone call or something. Get a phone call, make gas, whatever. And they hear this phone ring. And they're like, where is that coming from? And they get out the car. They look in the trunk. Professor Wexler is dead in the trunk.
Mm-hmm. Dead. Gone.
Right. And Reese had went to Wexler's office and slipped in the blood earlier, but there was no body.
Mm-hmm.
So Wexler's in the car. And I love when Brenda's like, you know what? You can have him. I love that part. She's like, it's okay, girl. You can have him.
Right.
And they take off running. Paul's like, what the fuck? They take off running. They lose each other in the midst of the running, and she ends up flagging down the car.
Mm-hmm.
The car has a creepy janitor in it. She gets in the car. She thinks she's safe, and he's like, you know, he's creepy. He's awkward. I think he's just an awkward old man. He wasn't trying to hurt nobody.
Yep.
She looks down. She sees that same fucking coat.
And that's when she was like,
Let me out.
Let me out.
Let me out this bitch. And he's like, calm down, crazy girl. And he grabs her arm, and she's freaking out. As soon as she starts freaking out, Paul's car passes him with a hooded figure in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, dumb kids. And he flashes the high beams.
Damn.
And they turn their lights on and they start following him.
Yep.
And she's like, go faster, go faster. They get run off the road. Creepy driver guy gets knocked out. We're not sure if he's dead or not, but he doesn't look too good.
Mm-hmm.
She gets out the car. She's running towards campus. She hits the emergency light. She's not getting a response, but they're at the old dormitory. And she hears Brenda screaming for help. So she takes her ass in there to go help. And when she gets in there, we also missed another kill. Now, this kill I really didn't care too much about, but the dean got killed too, guys, in the midst of the party.
Oh, yeah.
Right? He is jumpy. He gets to his car. Reese is like, you know, we should call the police.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't okay. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. Do your job. And she calls him an asshole, walks away. And then the hooded figure's under the car, cuts his Achilles tendon. And as he's crawling away, they put the car in drive and just let it roll. And he just ran over until like the tire checkpoint.
Right. Ugh.
Okay. It was nothing to write home about. It was very forgettable.
Yeah.
But she finds the dean's body. She walks through, and then there goes Damon's body hanging. Right, and she keeps walking through, seeing bodies, and then she gets to this room with these candles lit, and Brenda's on the bed looking like knocked out or dead.
Mm-hmm.
This bitch turns around, starts crying, and our reveal: Brenda gets up and knocks her ass out.
Yep.
Now this is when the movie gets good. I promise you. From the opening kill all the way up until now, I was like, why did I like this movie?
Right.
But when we got to Brenda going like full on Debbie Salt.
Yeah. It made sense.
I'm not trying to understand why she didn't get cast in more horror movies, because she was a really good villain and the turn was really so good.
She was really good. She was very like, she played the part really well.
Yes.
She lived up to like, oh, this bitch is crazy. Like her eyes, she had the crazy eyes.
Not suspecting her at all.
Yep.
Because she was just like so sweet and just Natalie's friend. But I think when okay, you were already gonna kill Natalie, but I think when she kissed Paul, she was like, okay, bitch, we ain't got time no more. We're gonna just go ahead and speed this up.
Oh yeah.
Because she killed like a couple more people right after that happened.
Yeah.
Like, forget it. So she walks, like, Natalie's tied to the bed all groggy, and she walks in with the coat on and she pulls it off, and she's like surprised. And Natalie's like, why are you doing this to me? And she's like, you want to know why? You want to know why? Now, I'm not a big fan of the why with most movies, but this was a good why.
Yeah.
I felt her on this. Like, I was on Brenda's side in this movie. So You come to find out, and I love when she does it. She has a slideshow ready for this bitch.
She had it. She was so prepared. Like she was prepared for this moment.
She came with receipts.
Yep.
And she's showing a slideshow of her and her boyfriend in high school.
Yep.
And then she shows another slide of the boyfriend tragically dying in an auto accident.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalie's like, oh my God. And she's like, ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
She went nuts.
Yeah.
She's like, you're fucking crazy. And she's like, I may be a little eccentric, and I'm a little nutty.
Yeah.
Like, and I love the big curly hair too. I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, that was my boyfriend, and we were gonna get married after high school, and he couldn't afford a ring, so he gave me this necklace, and you took him away from me.
Yep.
You and your friend playing your stupid game.
It was
now you have to die.
Yep.
Right? And she was like, Natalie, this isn't gonna bring him back. And she's like, I know that. I've been to therapy, and obviously it's not working.
Right. That revenge feels so much better.
She owned her shit.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not working. And she was like, don't you want to be an urban legend? All your friends are. And she's like, you're not going to get away with it. You know, all your regular shit. And she was like, I have the perfect alibi. She was like, Wexler, she's like, he is a survivor of a massacre. He snaps and kills his fucking students in the same subject that he teaches. It's perfect.
Perfect. It makes sense. It makes sense.
In the midst of this, Reese is speeding over there because she saw the emergency light.
Yeah.
She went and got her gun. She looked at Pam Grier and said, coffee.
Yep.
This girl.
Yep.
So she's speeding up there. And she's like, well, enough chat. Time for you to die. And she's like, you want to know how you're going to go out? And she's like, the kidney heist. So the kidney heist is an urban legend, which many men have passed down the line of cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Like of like when you cheat on your wives, don't be careful because the kidney heist might happen to you.
Right.
Right. So
be careful, guys. Cautionary tale.
So the kidney heist is an urban legend about this guy. And I think in like somewhere down the pipeline, it is about a guy who's cheating on his wife.
Mm-hmm.
But just a guy who goes to a hotel bar. He meets a girl. He thinks she's pretty. She's chatting him up. She invites him to her hotel. They go back to her hotel room. She makes him a drink. And he wakes up in a tub full of ice with his kidneys missing. And they're being sold on the black market.
Yep.
Now, you've seen this particular urban legend in so many movies and TV shows and from American Dad to Family Guy. Like, I can think of so many things that people have done with the kidney heist.
Man.
So she's like, this is my favorite. And this is what's going to happen. And she's like, look, I don't have no anesthesia for you. So you have to bite on that gag till you go in the shop. And then she grabs that scalpel and she sticks her in the stomach. And she's like, is this the kidney or the liver? She's like, I was really crappy in anatomy, but I guess I'll just snatch whichever one I see first.
Yes. Oh, I loved it.
And she stabs her again. And then Reese shows up with the gun and is like, when she was like, she's like, stand up, you loony psycho bitch.
I loved it. I love
Loretta Devine is like my aunt in my head. So to hear her call someone a loony psycho bitch, I was here for it.
I was here for it too. So I'm like, yes, Auntie, get her.
Okay. But of course she fucked up because first of all, bitch, you didn't get the fucking knife from her, the scalpel.
Mm-hmm.
But she gets Natalie's hand untied, so Natalie's untying herself, and she's going to frisk the girl.
Yeah.
And old girl slices her in the stomach.
Yep.
With a pocket knife. She said, sliced her, and it was sharp.
Oof. Yeah.
Right. And she goes down. They're fighting for the gun, and Brenda gets the gun and shoots Reese. Reese is down.
Mm-hmm.
So she stands up and she's like, bullet in the head. Not exactly how I planned it, but I can make it work.
Right.
Like she was so chaotically funny.
Yes.
And you can tell it wasn't meant to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But the way she just played that character, it was like a Scream movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember why I always associate with Scream, because she was giving me like Debbie Stu Macher vibes.
Yes.
Like she was just enjoying it so much.
Yes. Yes. Like she was her lines was good too.
Perfect.
Like, oh my gosh.
And
perfect.
she even says, like, I just had the best time playing with your pretty little head. Like, she really relished this shit.
Yep.
Right. And she was like, it's all gonna work out. She's like, you're gonna be dead. And she's like, and guess what? Paul's gonna run into my arms, and I'll have him, and he'll have his Pulitzer Prize, and we'll live happily ever after. And Paul comes around the corner clapping.
Ugh.
And you have to wonder for a second, like, is Paul about to really side with this bitch for a story?
I thought he was in on it.
I
ain't
did
gonna
too.
lie. I thought he was in on it. I was like,
I did too. I really thought it was a setup.
Yep.
And he's like, okay, I'm with you. We can do this, but I need to know details about each killing that Wexler did that only you could tell me. He's like, and then I'm gonna need you to give me the gun. And she was like, you are so cute, but you are not that fucking cute.
She ain't no fool.
No. So she about to light both of their ass up. And they kind of like, Reese gets up and like shoots her. So they get the gun. And then she's like, what are you going to do, Natalie? You going to shoot me? And Natalie shoots that ass.
She does.
Out the window.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So they go over to Reese. They're like, hey, we're going to get an ambulance for you and all that shit. And she was like, all that time I wanted to be a cop. And look at me now.
Right.
Right. So they're driving in the car. They got the paramedics to Reese. They're driving off and they're just mulling things over. And Natalie's like, this is going to be an urban legend too, except for you'll be a cop. Reese will be a guy. No, she said, you'll be a cop. Brenda will be a guy.
Yep.
I'll end up in a mental institution.
Yep.
Right. And he says, well, if this is an urban legend, what's the twist? And you see Brenda jump out the back seat with the axe.
Yeah.
And she's trying to kill them while they're driving in like a rainy car.
Yes.
And they're trying to fight her off, but she is beating the shit out of Natalie in this car, y'all. Like Natalie's such a weak bitch. Like she the reason why nobody really talks about this movie is because the final girl is so fragile that there's no reason to.
Right. She had no fight.
She had no fight. She got her ass whooped, tossed, beat, cussed out, disrespected. Like it was just, there was nothing.
Yeah.
But just the epitome of needing to be saved by a man, because the only reason why she lived was because Paul slammed on the brakes and Brenda goes flying through the windshield into the river.
Yep.
Okay. So we're fading out, and then we're now at another coffee shop with a whole nother bunch of college kids. Yep. And this guy's like, the crazy part is that they checked the river and they never found the body. And they're like, oh, this is bull crap. This isn't a real story. This happens, they tell this urban legend at every college. And he's like, does anybody believe what I'm saying? You see someone raise their hand and it's Brenda in a new wig.
New wig? Baby got a new wig. I was like, look at her.
She's somebody else.
Yeah.
And she's like, but you didn't tell the story right. And she's like, so y'all need to listen because this is how the story really goes. And then that's it. Like, she got away.
Yep.
She got away.
I was like, oh my gosh. It was a fun ride. It was crazy.
And that's why I said that last 20 minutes is the best. The opening in the last 20 minutes. I'm happy she got away. I mean, I'm mad she didn't. She got one of the two bitches. I mean, she got the bitch that was driving. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
She got the one that was driving.
Yep.
So I mean, I'm happy for her. I'm happy for Brenda.
Everybody else was just a casualty in order to get to her.
Just to get to Natalie, so she didn't finish the job. But I'm happy for her. Like, good for her. I'm happy that she got the bitch that was driving.
Yeah,
because that's devastating.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. I was not. It was very hard to be on her side. Even before we knew she was involved with killing old girl's boyfriend, like I was still not rooting for her.
She was so boring.
She was like, I was like, come on, like stand up, girl. What's wrong with you? Like,
what do you say, Players Club? Did you at least pinch the bitch?
At least, like, oh my god,
not even a little point. Like she didn't push, shove, slap, spit, flip a hair, like nothing. Like I was expecting at least one of these moments. Like something. You know how they be doing when they be like cat fighting and they be like, we didn't even get that.
Nothing. Every scene with her was just meh, and like
nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. The worst, the cringiest part was the dog. Ugh. The dog one was cringy. The Drano kill was cringy. The best one was the beginning because like I still check my back seat.
Thank you. That is literally why. If you've ever seen Urban Legend, like there's Urban Legend in the back seat checking. And then there's Final Destination in the logs. Like there's just like you can't not do it.
No, like it's stuck. That stuck with me. And like I said, when the killer was revealed, I was like, okay, I'm not mad at this. I'm not mad. I'm not
Yeah,
mad at it.
I like the killer reveal of this one.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't it was a shock to me upon first watching because this is your best friend.
Right. Right.
Right. It was giving me all sorts of happy death day. Like
Mm-hmm.
the closest person to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how she turned. Like she went full on Harley Quinn in this, and I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
She
loved it.
did. She did her thing.
I love good old fashioned revenge. Like I love that if you take my love when I'm coming for you revenge. So I was here for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was happy for her. I think it was therapeutic for her.
Mm-hmm.
And now she can move on with her life.
Yep. Yep. So that was Urban Legend. The night was it 1998? 1998.
Yes, 98.
You know, it followed a lot of the same tropes. It had some good kills. It had a good chase sequence. It had the typical party. You know, it's something going on, people getting killed, but let's still find time to party.
And that's why I was so shocked to know that this is the director of Valentine. But it makes sense because they're kind of the same.
Pretty much. They are mirror. They're kind of mirror films.
Right, like Urban Legend came out first, so like Valentine is definitely like a step down. Like if you like Valentine, you'll love Urban Legend. It's like Valentine like was a step down. Like Urban Legend was probably the best body work this person did.
Yeah. It was yeah.
I feel like they were like, hey, this worked, let's do it again.
Yeah,
but make it somebody else. Like it was. Yeah, I was like, I feel like I'm watching Valentine all over again.
It definitely had the Valentine feel to it. It definitely had a Valentine
especially
feel to
like let's get a bunch of well-known teen actors put in this movie.
Yep. So yeah, that was Urban Legend. Now let's get into Urban Legend Final Cut.
Now I promise you, I remember like a lot of parts of this, but not details. And I of course remember the end. So
in this movie, like at first, like I told you, I watched it a few times just so I can make sure I don't like it. Because sometimes my ADD, my attention deficit, be getting the best of me. And it wasn't the attention deficit on this movie. It just was not a good film. I definitely kept getting distracted during watching this film. I just, like the kills just weren't like it was just, and even when we got to the ending, I was very underwhelmed.
Yeah,
like I was so underwhelmed.
No, I can give a quick synopsis of this, but I cannot get detailed about this because it's that boring.
It really was.
Like you just watched it, and I'm sure you don't remember any details about this.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the details.
So quick synopsis: the students are at a different college this time, and they're film students, and they have to turn in this big project to be considered for the Alfred Hitchcock Film Award. That I do remember, right?
Yep.
Everybody's doing their student films, and this one guy is like a shoo-in to win, but he dies under mysterious circumstances. Okay. And the girl in the class decides, all right, well, after the boy is found dead, right? And they think it's a suicide, of course.
Right.
You see Reese is there.
Yep.
Reese is now working at this college, and her and Reese have a discussion, and Reese tells her a brief story about how there was killings at this college and that it got covered up, and the person that helped put murderer down got fired, and she's talking about herself.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So this girl takes this information to her crew, and she's like, hey, we're going to film a horror movie based on urban legends.
Exactly.
So we're now in a movie within a movie universe.
And that's where they lost me at. I got to admit, that's where they lost me at. And I'm not sure why, because I usually like a movie within a movie because, well, no, sometimes I don't like a movie within a movie.
You want to know why you didn't like it? Because it wasn't done properly.
It wasn't. It was all over the place.
All over the place. Now, the only bright spot of this movie is we did get Anthony Anderson. This is heavy Anthony Anderson, like before he got skinny.
Yep. So that was a different.
Yeah, this is when he still had the really big gap and he was like real heavy.
Yep.
This is like around Romeo Must Die times. Like, with me.
Yep.
Okay, so he was still the funny, heavy guy. So he's like a comic relief. He's one of the special effects guys. And they have a professor who's like really intense and they want to impress him. So you go through this whole convoluted movie of people getting killed on the murdered on the film set based off of their scenes, and they do the humans can lick too shit in there.
Yep.
And
it was just so boring. It was
just filming, even though her cast and crew are dying like hotcakes. Eva Mendes also plays a lesbian in this movie who's attracted to her. I hate Eva Mendes. I think she's one of the worst overrated actors of our generation, and they kept trying to make her happen like Fetch, and I'm glad she didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
the cast on this movie was just thrown together. Like it was so random, so thrown together, because I'm like, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I forgot Eva Mendes was in this movie.
I promise
I forgot.
You know, I am one of those people that don't hate Will Smith for the slap.
Yeah.
But I will always hate Will Smith for putting that bitch in that Miami video so she could have a career in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's because of him.
It's because of him. If she wouldn't have been in that fucking video in that car saying "Bienvenido a Miami," we wouldn't be dealing with this bitch for 20 years.
Because she was like a boomerang. She just kept coming back, kept coming back.
I hated her in this. I hated her in Hitch. I hated her in The Women. I hate her in damn near. She's always greasy and boring.
Yep.
Like I'm talking about, you are purely here because you are Latino and skinny.
That's
like,
it.
The most low budget. At least J-Lo has some talent.
Yeah.
She don't have all the talents that people said she has, but she has some.
She got something. She got something going for herself.
Made in Manhattan and enough art. And Selena.
Yeah.
Selena makes me cry every time I watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are not like, I will slander J-Lo about everything else, but we are not going to slander her about her acting abilities.
Oh yeah. That's one thing. Check. She get a check from me for that. Like,
right.
I can't fault her for that.
Even in this low budget J-Lo, I said it. So then the guy who got killed in the beginning, the film student, has a twin brother.
That was just poor. Like that was poor. Like poor writing. Like who? Like y'all wrote.
Like he has a twin brother that's coming because he knows it wasn't a suicide, and I feel like they were like, look, because the guy who played him was also a pretty big deal because he was in Legally Blonde. He played Elwood's boyfriend that dumped her, so he was a pretty big deal at the time too. And I feel like they were like, okay, we've got this guy in here and we don't want to waste him, so we're just gonna rewrite another character and call you
basically. And he had that same like smug look that he had in Legally Blonde.
They gave this nigga like different clothes.
I hated him. I hate
Warner. Warner is one of the worst rom-com boyfriends of all time.
Worst.
And I'm so glad he got left penniless with no job and no woman.
Yep. Because he just like looking at his stupid face is like
he did Elle so wrong, and then he did Selma Blair wrong too. Even though she was a waspy bitch, he was doing her wrong too.
Yeah, she kind of deserved it.
But I digress. Yes, he plays the twin brother that's coming to investigate because he knows that his brother, they have a twin connection, and he felt it, and he knows he got murdered.
Yep. He's Trevor. He's the twin brother that got killed, suicide. Travis and Trevor.
Yes.
Yep.
So you go through this whole rigmarole trying to find out like who the killer is. Anthony Anderson gets killed, and it's very obvious who the killer is.
Yeah. Even the kills in this movie was not so good, because even when he's like hitting Anthony Anderson with the thing, it just wasn't it. Like the budget got skimmed somewhere, and that was where the movie suffered, because it's just like, just to know a little bit about this movie, I like looking at numbers. So the budget for this movie was $14 million. It was released September 22nd, 2000, but it was deemed a little bit successful because it grossed $38.6 million at the box office. So it made its budget. You know how they look at that. It made its budget back. But critics and the general public,
it made its money back. People saw the first one and was like, hey, this is a really interesting movie.
It was a cash grab. Yeah, let's just keep it real. It was a cash grab. It didn't do quite as well as Urban Legends during its box office run, but it's still, they look at it like, hey, we got our $14 million back and then some. So they wasn't mad about that.
And then they keep talking about this movie this kid made that was like some masterpiece, and I'm just like, okay,
right.
Really didn't see much of it to know that it was a masterpiece, but whatever. Right. So you get through the end and like everybody's getting killed and she's getting chased and you find out that it's the professor.
Right.
Like no one saw that coming, especially when you find out that he like never won the award and he tried for many, 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 many years. And this kid's movie was a shoo-in. So yes, he was trying to kill off everybody so he could have this movie and be successful.
Yep. That was it. Like that was, I wasn't feeling that whole like revenge story plot that I wasn't feeling that his aspect of like
there was no reason for it. Okay, you didn't win.
Get over it. Try again next year. Like boo-hoo. Like what the hell? Like we supposed to be sad because you, and then there was like, oh, and the one critic, the one person who like voted against me was your father. So it's like I didn't like the final girl in this one either.
I know. At the end of the day, right? Like youth is leaving all of us. I'm having an existential crisis, clearly. But like I'm not about to go and like get a job teaching at a cosmetology school and then kill all my students so that I can get a job.
Right. It just makes no. It just didn't. It didn't make any sense.
Compared to the first one, no sense.
Yeah. It just. I was like, where did they go wrong? And they went wrong at the very beginning. Like they went wrong at the very beginning.
Baby, even Loretta Devine couldn't save this movie, and she
saved
everything.
And she tried. Like they had her save the day again. You know, she saved the day again. She had some good one-liners again,
but none that I can remember.
Nope.
Right, but then you get to the end, and like you know, they're doing the award ceremony, and they give it to Travis. In memoriam, and there's somebody in the rafters and Reese shoots them and they fall, and you realize that they're filming a movie based off of what they experienced. So now we're in another situation of a movie within a movie. Right,
it's like they started the movie within the movie, then they abandoned it, and then they came back around. They circled back around.
They were like, oh, we got to spin the block, remember this shit. But here's the crazy part, this is what I don't understand, right? This part, you know me, I love continuity, don't understand it. So we see that she's filming a movie about what the professor did at the college, right? And then we pan out from a TV screen to said professor in a psych ward. So were they filming a movie about the making of the movie about the movie?
Girl, they didn't even try to figure it out.
They were just like, oh, we got this great like aha moment, so we're gonna use it. So pretty much they pan out. The professor is sitting there in like his robes in like a psych ward. I don't understand how he got away with murder, but I guess white men be white men. And you see his orderly is Brenda.
So it's like she went from college to working in the psych ward. Like, do they know she crazy?
Right.
She gotta gave him a different name or something. Like,
and she's like,
it was her little cameo. That was her little cameo. Like, oh, okay.
She's like, oh, I understand. Let's just turn this off. And they start playing the Alfred Hitchcock music as she's wheeling him down the hall. And that's it. That's literally your movie. It's so night and day from the first one. And then, I mean, if you really want to get into it, there's a part 3.
It is. I was looking into that when I was searching it up. I was like, this was like straight to video, right?
Look, you know, we watch movies every Friday at Blockbuster. So we definitely rented this one. My dad was like, ooh, there's a third urban legend. We got to watch it.
It's the reason why nobody was talking about that shit.
So urban legend Bloody Mary is literally, has nothing to do with the first one, nothing to do with the second one. It's just a bunch of kids getting killed by urban legends. I don't even remember the ending or who did it, but I just remember the whole spider egg thing. They did the spider egg one in this one. You know what really turned me off from this movie was the goddamn poster. You didn't like the mask, did you? I didn't like the mask. It just made me mad. It made me mad. It made me very mad. And I was just but there was like the moment in time where like every horror movie poster was the cast looking like this. Literally. Literally. So like every horror movie poster looked like that.
I know. And it's like, man, Why? Like, this didn't need to
don't
be
know.
made. And this was in 2005. So, you know, nobody's checking for a new urban legend movie. Like, we'd have moved on. We on like what was around that time? Was it The Ring and The Grudge and all that shit coming out?
Past Freddy versus Jason, like
We
all
were
that
past
shit.
that. Yeah. So it's like y'all are like 20 years too late. And then, like you said, there's no continuity. It don't have nothing to do with the first one, which is what we love. We love the first one. There's no connection to that one. There's no connection to the second one that we hate. This is just like, I'm not a fan of stand-alone sequels.
You know,
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Most times for me, it just does not work for me.
I can think of one franchise that has done this and has gone on, and the sequels were like more entertaining to me than the originals, even though they're cheesy. Don't know if you ever watched Prom Night, like the original with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Nope.
Okay, so the original Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis is a whole like the remake is based off of that movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the one with Idris Elba. That's based off of the regular Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, there is like 2 sequels after that that have nothing to do with the original, but I promise you they're more entertaining.
Really?
Yes, it's Prom Night 2, Hello Mary Lou, and then Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. I promise you, they are the goofiest, zaniest, cheesiest 80 movies that have nothing to do with Prom Night, but I enjoy them much more than Prom Night.
Okay. Well, they're in the 80s, right?
Yes, and they're Canadian films.
Okay, so that makes sense. 80s sequels.
You can find Prom Night 2 and 3 on YouTube. That's how I found them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with nothing, but I swear to God, they will make you laugh. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It works sometimes, but just not in this situation.
Yeah. Like, nobody's checking for another urban legend.
That's why we weren't even going to talk about part 3. I just want to let people know there was a part 3.
Yeah.
That was out there in case they wanted to know. You don't.
We're gonna leave that over there, wherever the hell it's at. Leave it there. I can't even. Like, I barely could even with Final Cut. Like, I barely could even with this movie, and I'm just like, I have so much stuff I could be watching right now. Because side note, anybody that knows, I am thrusting myself into The Office right now.
Yes. So, oh my God, I'm so finally. Isn't it like the funniest shit ever?
20 years later, I can't listen. I can't get out of season 2 because I keep rewatching episodes.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, my the parkour episode is like the parkour episode when the episodes where Dwight and Angela are messing around.
Man.
Because like nobody is figuring this out. Them 2 motherfuckers had a whole but you haven't even gotten to like the real Angela and Dwight problems yet. You're still on season 2.
I'm still stuck in season 2.
Wait till you get to try to find out who the baby daddy is.
Oh Lord. I'm excited.
You get to Dwight trying to figure that out.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I should be watching The Office right now, but I am watching this Final Cut. Like, y'all is messing with my life.
The episode where Michael and what's her name? Not Angela. The chick he dates in The Office. His boss that doesn't really like him but likes him, Janet. Yeah. That episode where him and Jan have that dinner party.
Oh.
That's the episode you need to get to. They have a dinner party and they start arguing in front of everybody. And when I tell you those are Jim's best faces.
Yeah.
Is the dinner party scene and them arguing over Mike's he gets a flat screen TV. And when I tell you it's literally like it's like this big. It's not big, but they're arguing about it. Like it is. And he goes in on her candle business. Like, it is the greatest shit ever. Now I gotta start watching The Office again.
I know, right? So it's like that's what that's my
but project. That's how I felt too. Like I was like, I need to be catching up on. I'm like 2 seasons behind on the Real Housewives of Potomac. So I'm trying to catch up on the drama.
We got other stuff to be watching, but we took time to watch Final Cut. So it's like, okay, we did it. We got through it. It was terrible. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it on the podcast.
In my mind, I had every intention on watching it and renting it for $4, and then time just got away from me. And I was like, I could squeeze this in, but do I really want to rent this right now?
Nope, don't even worry about it, girl. Don't even worry about it. Wikipedia will tell you all you need to know about the damn movie
This is true.
because,
That's
like,
not
I
bad.
watched it twice today, and I still had to go to Wikipedia to be like, "What the hell did I just watch? Like, what the hell?" And I watched the ending, and I kept rewinding it, so I'm like, "This is the killer." Like,
Yeah,
I
it did
knew
go
we
down.
knew the professor was, you know what I mean? Like, they weren't subtle with it,
No,
but it was just the writing. The writing took a dive on this to the
I
point.
always have an issue when movies take the Scooby Doo writing approach.
Yeah.
Okay, sidebar. Your brother-in-law, your buddy over here. So we were having a huge debate.
Mhm.
Okay, so much so. You ever seen the movie Corrupt with Ice-T and Silk the Shocker
Vaguely.
on Tubi?
I want to say I saw it and I want to get it out of my memory for some reason because
Okay,
it was so bad.
it's horrible, right? It's like the worst.
Horrible. I want to
Ice-T
get it out of my
directed it.
memory. Like
He directed
I
it.
remember
Like,
it.
like Ice-T directed this shit. It was a horrible movie. It was like the worst Ice-T music ever put to wax, right? So we, off of your recommendation, because you know I be following your other pages,
Mhm.
we watched Tiffany the Doll.
Yeah.
Okay. It's horrible.
Horrible.
This is an episode we have to do all on its own.
Horrible. But I
Horrible.
said if you look at it from a comedy,
No, it wasn't funny either. Okay, because I got tired of that dude. I got tired of that dude driving around with the same fucking wool hat on, talking about these dolls, man. We gotta get these. I was so tired of this nigga. I was so tired. I was so tired. And I looked at this man and I said, that movie with Ice-T and Silk the Shocker is way better than this. This angered this man so much that he made me watch this movie again and cussed me out the entire movie about how is this worse? How is this better than Tiffany the Doll?
He didn't think it was better than Tiffany the Doll?
No, he thinks this is the worst movie, and he had never seen it. I was like, my dad had this movie. You have to watch it.
Oh my gosh!
We do this thing every so often where we call it bad movie night, and we pick like the worst. We watch Buffed Up. Like we just pick a horrible movie.
Yeah,
but we like Buffed Up though. I mean, it's whatever.
Buffed Up is all right.
It's an underground hood classic. Like if you know, you know. If you've ever been in Detroit.
Yeah,
you know. So, yeah, I made him watch that, and he has never forgiven me for making me watch Corrupt. And he wants you to do a recap about it.
Oh my gosh, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it.
He wants you to do a recap. I don't care. That Tiffany the Doll shit, I wanted to scrub my brain like a Ren and Stimpy episode. That shit was so bad.
Yeah, it's one that's worse than that though. What was the one? Oh, it's a few that's worse than that. The one was damn it, I just did a review on it, but not an official review. The one was the Neighborhood Dope Man.
Oh,
that one is bad. The other one, Queen Angie. Oh my gosh, this movie is. Listen, I like bad movies. You know, that's my thing. I like bad movies.
I love Tales from the Hood.
But this movie, I can't accept them having a smoke detector. Every time they was at the grandma Angie's house, there was a smoke detector beeping in the background. I'm like, y'all got to be shitting me. Like now you playing with my intelligence.
You know what? I love bad movies, but you know what movie that's like a bad movie that I don't care. There's two of them that I love. I don't know if you remember. Like you remember Full Moon Pictures?
Yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah,
and they had their like urban version, and they did Ragdoll.
Yes,
and the horrible Dr. Bones. I made Courtney watch those too, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Man, Snoop Dogg was kind of in his bag too with the horror movies. He had
Hood of Horror.
Yeah, I love Hood of Horror. I love the Mr. Bones one.
Yes, like Bones is good.
Bones is good. Oh my gosh.
I watch Hood of Horror at least once every 2 months. Like, I promise you, because seeing Derwin Davis be a bad guy,
that was hilarious. That was wild. Like that was insane.
Like you can't. That's one of my favorite segments. And then seeing Tayshaun Prince like in hell.
Right.
with no feet. Like, come on.
Yeah. Like I like bad movies. I mean, I'm all right with that. You know, some of them ain't all bad. But that Tiffany the Doll one, man, I tell you, I laughed so hard, man. I laughed at that movie. I even wrote the director. Like, it's so funny. Like, this goes deep because I was DMing the director of Tiffany the Doll, and you know, she's been taking the criticism. She's been taking it in stride, and she actually told me like they are working on a sequel to the movie.
Babe, Tiffany the Doll Part 2.
Man, I guess it's one. I guess it's supposed to be like Henry the Doll. It's supposed to be a dude. It's supposed to be a dude sex doll. So
you know what? That's what was bothering me. I can even get behind like the normal people running like this. Whatever. I can get behind the girls wearing fucking Cirilla's finest. I get it. It's low budget.
Low budget as fuck.
I couldn't get past the dude driving around like, we gotta get these dolls, man.
That was horrible. That was somebody's cousin. That was somebody's cousin. Yeah.
Okay, that and old girl and her dude trying to figure out who bought the doll. That was pissing me off. But I'm telling you right now, ain't shit coming up in here that one of us don't know who bought it.
Right.
That cost that much money. Okay. I'm not buying.
Like that damn doll was $10K. Like what?
Everybody in the hood got $10K for a sex doll.
Mm-hmm.
And her super freaky girlfriend was getting on my nerves. Like, girl, ain't nobody that overt.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. So I don't know. It might be part 2. It might be a part 2.
No, I really want we really got to do these hood ones because man, they cracked me up. But yeah, I said Tiffany the Doll was worse than Corrupt, and he will never forgive me. So that he wants you to do a recap with May about it.
I gotta revisit that because I ain't watched it in so long. Maybe my mind might change.
No, it's horrible.
It might change.
It's horrible.
Maybe I'll find a new.
That's a better rating.
Don't nobody care about you, Otis. They here to see me.
5.1 IMDb or IMDb.
This is why, okay, I want y'all, this is why we can't get nowhere as a people. Because I'm sitting here trying to be professional and do my thing week after week, and he is just like sliding in with his opinions about Tiffany the Doll.
By the way.
Yeah. So you and Nate need to start your own shit, because y'all always jumping in, trying to be all up in the videos, Diddy. Shit, let me breathe.
I'll dance in the video.
But no, I want you to pick next Monday's movie. After that, we've got Scream 6, and then we're rolling into other stuff. But I want like, now that we're on the train to being done with franchise that I picked, it's your turn. So the only thing I ask is that we do Leprechaun in the Hood for St. Patrick's Day. Other than that, March is all yours.
Okay. Do you wanna hit up Tales from the Hood?
We can do that.
Do you want to do it? You want to put a pin in it? Go do it later. We can start it now because I'm always willing to talk about Tales from the Hood.
I will talk about Tales from the Hood anytime. I just watched it.
Yeah, me too.
I just watched it like last week.
That is a comfort horror movie. Like, I don't fall asleep.
I literally was sitting here on Tubi. They took Tales from the Hood 2 and 3 off again.
I know. I know.
And I saw that it had like 3 days left, and I had halfway finished part 2. I was like, oh, I gotta finish it. And Courtney was like, why are you rewatching this? I'm like, they're gonna take it.
It's about to go. They're gonna bring it back. They're gonna bring it back next month. They always do that shit. They bring it. They take it. They make you like 8 days away. It's about to expire, and I'm like, why would y'all do this to me? Y'all know I'm gonna watch it every day.
I have to talk about Dumas Beach. Like, I have to. I don't. I have to talk about, like, part 1 is a classic. There's not a person, white, black, whoever, alive. And it's funny that white people are just now getting on Tales from the Hood.
Man. Ugh.
Right. So, yeah, like, we can talk about Tales from the Hood all day, but we got to get to 2 because I'm going to defend the absurdity of part 2.
I know. 3 is where they lost me. I ain't gonna lie.
3 was better than 2.
You think so?
3 was so much better than 2. I'm sorry. Part 2 was terrible compared to 3.
I don't know, man.
And this is why we have to revisit this, because I'm telling you, like, if you watch 2, if you do you have to understand my thinking. I'm a marathon person, right? So I'll watch part 1, then I'll watch 2 and part 3. So when you watch these shits in order, like when you watch Scream 3 and then 4, you were like, it wasn't really that bad. Right. I'm telling you, you will watch 2 and then watch 3 and be like, this is a vast improvement, even down to the intro.
Yeah.
Because them
I'd
dancing
rather-
skeletons in part 2.
Yeah. I don't know. We can do you think we can do all 3 in one video? In one sesh?
Hell nah.
No. We gotta break it down.
Okay, we can do 2 and 3 in one video, but 1 cannot be condensed. Like it's too,
Oh, yeah.
it's a classic.
Okay. Yep, that's fair. We'll do 1 and then we'll do a double feature again with 2 and 3.
Yes, like I said, because we got a video next Monday, and then we're going to see opening night Thursday night. Am I getting the tickets or you getting the tickets?
I will get the tickets because I got
Okay.
some credits. I got some credits
Okay.
built up. So
Yeah,
will get
because
the
I need to
tickets.
see it. Last time I checked, they still had some available,
Mhm.
but you better get on that because you already know we a week out, and you already know these people do not play.
I know.
We live in
I'm gonna
Ohio,
do
and
that.
we live in Ohio. There's nothing to do.
I know. I'm gonna do that. My check should be my FEMA check.
Shut up.
It's gonna be
Get my FEMA
deposited
check.
tomorrow. So yeah, when I'm gonna do that definitely this probably tomorrow. What's tomorrow? 28th. So between
Yes.
tomorrow and the 1st.
Because we have to go see the movie, and then we have to come home that night and get set up and get
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're doing 2 videos next week.
Yep.
So yeah, like I said, there's no way that 1 can be squeezed into a triple video.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's on the plan. That's on the docket.
Oh, I'm
Tales
excited.
from the
girl.
Hood. Tales
better
from
watch
the
the
Hood
Tales
on
from the Hood
Monday, and then we're gonna do Scream. We're gonna do our fresh out the theater
Yes.
talking
Literally
about
out the
Scream
theater,
6
talking
while
about
it's
Scream.
fresh.
Because what
And
I'm
then
probably gonna end up doing is just driving on my own.
Okay.
That way you don't have to we don't have to stop and drop nobody off. We can both get to our house, get on,
Okay.
and go from there with our first initial thoughts.
That's cool. That's cool with me. I'm gonna try. Would it be too much of a nerd of me to have a notepad a little bit, just a little bit in the theater?
No, because I'm gonna have my notes on my phone. I put
Okay.
everything in this.
I need to know because I'm getting a little older now. I gotta remember. I gotta write shit down, or I could do the notes things in my phone like you.
Yeah, just I'll turn my screen brightness down, and I just be.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I like. Please don't age yourself by bringing a pad and a pencil. I will not know you when you pay for a whole ass smartphone.
I know, right? Okay. So this is what's on the docket. Next Monday, we're gonna talk about the classic, iconic Tales from the Hood.
Yeah.
1. Then Thursday night, join us for a special preview out the theater reaction thoughts. Are we gonna do spoilers? Or are we gonna save it? I want to listen.
Okay.
I want to keep it cute and be like, oh, spoiler free, but I got to talk about it.
I think we should not do spoilers because it's opening night.
Okay.
But I think we should spin the block at the end of March.
Okay.
After we've had a chance to digest or possibly go see it again.
Okay.
And do a spoiler review.
Okay. That's cool.
I mean, I like spoilers myself, but I know everybody's not into that. And I want to give people the opportunity to actually go see it. Because some people got to work. It might be a babysitter. They ain't gonna be able to make it. You know what I'm saying? Opening night, give them a couple weeks.
Right. Because I already know it's gonna be. I follow so many other different channels and shit, and I already know they're going to be like putting out their spoiler free review and shit.
Or
that.
We do our spoiler free that week, and then that Monday we do our spoiler review.
Okay. I like
That's
that.
only like 4 days.
Okay, that's cool.
Do you know what I'm saying? So we'll do our spoiler free on the 9th, and then do spoiler free on the 13th.
Okay.
But then we got to spin the block that Friday and do Lep in the Hood. So that's another. So we're really going to be doing 2 videos a week for 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's gonna be we're gonna be busy.
Which I'm fine with.
The content is ever flowing. Like we got a flow of stuff to talk about. So
I can't imagine having a podcast and it's St. Patrick's Day and I don't talk about Leprechaun in the Hood. I'm sorry. This has been a dream of mine. If I ever got a platform, I'm talking about this movie because I feel like the way people feel about like Pootie Tang or like shit like that, those spoofy just comedy movies, or like how people feel about Scary Movie. Like, this is one of those like hilarious spoof movies that no one talks about except for some like trash it, and it is hilarious.
And then they went back to the hood. The Leprechaun went Back to the Hood.
And
And if
that
one
one's so,
time
oh my
wasn't
God,
enough.
that one is so bad. And it makes me even more mad that Laz Alonso was in Back to the Hood. It's like,
I
dude, you're
know.
better than this.
He was like that was lowbrow for
He
him.
was so better than this.
That was so low. Like he must have just been bored of like, all right, this is something I can do.
No, he definitely owed taxes because there's no way.
Yeah.
I was just looking like, you are too fine to be in this movie.
Exactly.
And I don't even want to watch this now because it's so horrible.
That is just a stain on his resume, on his filmography. It's like he did do that. Why?
No, because I mean, like, there's some other movies that I want to get into. I want to get into Uninvited Guests with Mekhi Phifer.
Okay.
I love, that's a great thriller to me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's so many like Black niche movies that we don't talk about. And not that we're not going to keep talking about big franchises, but I feel like we both just want to expose people to things they've probably never heard of.
Yep. Because if we don't talk about it and then somebody else take our idea and run with it and talk about it, then I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad about it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be so upset. So
absolutely, I'm so inspired by the stuff that you're doing that I'm probably about to step out on my TikTok and start doing horror content.
Okay.
Nothing as major as what you're doing, but just random little things. I be having like questions.
Yep.
Like, I need a community of people that have questions like I have questions.
And it is, I'm telling you, TikTok is endless. It is endless of people who are willing to listen to you talk.
Yes. I need to make a TikTok anyway because, so fun little story. So for Valentine's Day, this makeup brand called Glam Light, they dropped Chucky and Tiffany collection, and Courtney was like sweet enough to like wait in line on Valentine's Day online to get me some stuff.
Yeah.
So I have to show it off because it's like, it's amazing. I mean, I'm wearing some of it today.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'm so excited. So I was like, I gotta get into my horror bag because these makeup collabs is keeping me in the loop for real. Yep. Like it's so elaborate. Like they even have like a wedding invitation in the box.
Oh wow. Cool.
So like I gotta get on my horror content.
Man, you better do it. For you see somebody else doing the exact same thing, talking about the exact same thing you wanted to talk about. That's gonna piss you off. So
plus he also got me one of those Fun World ghost face masks, the ones that smell like vanilla.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
And I need an excuse to wear my mask. So I'm just gonna be doing like random ass ghost face videos.
Oh yeah.
I have a ghost face mask now. So now Ghostface is about to be doing goofy shit in my house on TikTok.
Do it. I'm telling you, do it. I'm here for it.
Y'all about to be seeing baby Ghostface because Sean gonna be having the Ghostface mask on, knocking in the shit. Like y'all really about to get this goofy ass content of Ghostface doing shit.
Everything. That's it. That's what TikTok is for everybody to do anything. Is literally nothing people won't laugh and share and support for real.
But no, I think we did a good job tying in our rogue movies into the Scream franchise, and I am excited that it's coming to an end. Yep. I'm so happy that
I know because we've been working on this since like January-ish.
It feels like the longest.
Man, like we are finally at the end of the road. So it's like, yes, now what do we do? Now what do we talk about?
Everything. Like I said, I want to talk about Tiffany the doll. I want to talk about big franchises. I want to go back and talk about Ragdoll. Like I just want to sky's the limit.
Yep. All right. You have heard it, people. You heard it here first. Thank you so much for everybody who listens, who shares, who likes, follow, just all of those little details. They keep us going, keep us inspired, keep us encouraged to just do what we love to do.
Yes, and thank you everybody for liking all of my Valentines on Valentine's Day.
Yes, they were so funny. I loved it.
I put a lot of work into finding those.
The Stu Marker one was like, yes, I've always had a thing for you.
I know, and it's crazy because I almost got you that shirt, but I really didn't like how they made Stu look in the artwork, and I was like, I'm just gonna get her this one. But that was the other one. I was gonna get you that one. Or it was going to be the Randy talking about the rules.
Oh yeah. I love.
I got so many shirts on deck. Like
and that's the way I love to express myself with shirts.
I know you do. You are a t-shirt person just like me. So I was like, let me get the shirt. I just got the alert saying that it's being pressed.
Okay.
today, so it should be here by the time the movie comes out.
Okay, cool.
Fingers crossed.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We will put a pin in this episode.
Yes.
And we will holler at y'all. Excuse me. Holler at y'all next week. Join us about 8:30, 8:45-ish on the clock, on the dot. Same time, same channel.
Sisters be running late. We got
for sure. So on that note, we are out.
All right, bye y'all.
Peace.
Peace.